Hello, commentary video, first time in however long. Um, with the same shitty mic quality, the same shitty voice. We're so back. We're so back. It's a fucking 2021 all over again. Um, and I wanted to get around to a video of the new Mario Kart because that was like the second main thing on my channel. Hell, I would have made the main thing on my channel because it does better than Mortal Kombat stuff, honestly. I have had a few people asked for my thoughts, and I'm going to be honest, right? And I have not played this. I do not have the Switch 2. I do not have the money for that, right? I am jobless. So take it with a grain of salt. Like the core gameplay, for what I can tell, is actually quite good now that we've seen people play it. I mean, the gameplay I've got is just a Nintendo Direct, because I don't want to steal a specific channel's like gameplay. I just don't want to do that. So we just got like the shitty dedicated Direct that didn't tell us anything new in the background. So sorry about that. So the core game I think is okay. I find some items bizarre. I still think the Kamek item's dumb, although that might be just because it seems to be the reason Kamek's not playable, which I'll get to the roster because I don't like it. I like the new characters, but what's been removed is baffling, and some of the obscure new characters make it one of the most confusing rosters I've ever seen. So the core gameplay, you've got like the new gimmicks, like the wall riding, which isn't really new. I think you can wall ride on basically anything, so I quite like that. I think the loss of anti-gravity isn't worth it because there's really cool track gimmicks that use it. I mean, there's no nitro tracks from 8 that return here, so I suppose that's telling of how limiting this game makes it when it comes to picking retro tracks. And it's not because 8 was the, we've had 8 and 8 Deluxe for like a decade now. It's not that, because Sky High Sunday, of all things in the game, Moo Moo Meadows is back again, and Choco Mountain's back for some reason. I love Choco Mountain, but they just ruined the gimmick because we got to make it different. But just focus on the core gameplay first. I quite like the new gimmicks now. I've seen them in action and seen some of the crazy shortcuts and tech and shit. Even though a lot of it doesn't actually seem faster, so maybe it's not that useful. I like the fact you can trick multiple times in the air. The fact you can just spam trick on the glider is a bit daft, though. That just looks a bit dumb to me, but sure. The gliders seem to be, you see, more controlled in 8 Deluxe, which nerfed gliders, unfortunately. Although that might just be because open world has a lot of big tool sections, so of course it's going to be creating bigger glider sections. So I don't know how that feels, of course. So that's the only thing with not having actually played it. But I can tell the game is pretty cool. Like the rail riding stuff seemed pretty good. I wasn't interested initially because, well, it's just driving for you. But the tracks seem to integrate it well. That seems fine, right? The charge jump especially seems good. Mind you, it's definitely only there because the track design of all the intermissions and shit, all the straightaways, they had to make driving in a straight line more interesting. So that feels like a gimmick that wasn't needed, but sure. Rewind is dumb, but also it doesn't really matter. I just think it's weird. Like, I know it's not online, but even in like local multiplayer, like just rewind to dodge a blue shot, that's just weird. That just seems like a really odd thing to include in actual races. But it's a small thing. It doesn't really matter. Looking at the modes and stuff, my big issue with this game and why I'm not interested in getting it, is the track selection. 30 tracks, a bizarre selection. I'll actually pull up the image of the selection. So this is the track section. I believe it's 30 tracks, which is less than the regular 32. I thought they'd make 48 in the norm. I was going to say Deluxe had 48 at release, the base 32, and we used DLC tracks. They haven't even managed that. And I've seen the excuse of, well, it's an open world now. You've got all the intermission stuff. And I think that's a cop out. I think the intermissions are blatantly less interesting. Even when you get to like later sections, like the lava sections and stuff, I think they're clearly not that interesting. There's not much going on. It's not better than just having tracks, and then how the gaming incorporates it. It forces you to experience them because you only get one map of the actual track. You have to drive there for the first 2/3 of the track. Terrible. And in versus, you can select whatever you want. It's quite good and complete in that sense. You can select to just do 3 laps on a regular track. You can select to just drive from it to anywhere. There's several routes. That seems good. There seems to be a lot there. Mind you, when you're actually doing couch co-op with someone, I can't imagine someone's going to go, oh, I want to go from fucking Moo Moo Meadows to Dandelion Depths. Like, that's just too specific. No one's going to remember the specific intermissions and shit. People are just going to end up wanting to race on the core tracks, and that's hard to do. I was especially worried how online would do this. Now, online, I've seen the system they have in place. Terrible. I think, like, because you have open world for the lobby, I think where you are determines what the possible tracks you can pick from are, which is dumb because when you finish a race, you're put there in the open world, so the options are going to be similar for everyone. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I think that's the logic. It doesn't really matter regardless, because my issue is more so it's intermissions. It has the intermission bits. Then you race one lap on a thing, like the Grand Prix. They do that for the actual online races. And apparently there's like a chance to get like the regular race, right? I think everything's technically in a rotation, but the chances are going to be very low. You're mainly going to be playing it in a way nobody asks for. And I can't defend that. I don't see anybody who prefers that system, right? I definitely have hot takes for this game, but I don't think it's a hot take to say this is an inferior system. It's changed for the sake of it, and the open world is just not incorporated well. Right? Like at first, it's like, oh my god, they have open world. That's crazy. And then you think about it, it's like, why does Mario Kart have open world? Like, how does this help the game? You get a nice little single player mode, I guess. And even then, that's a bit debatable because you have fairly basic missions around and some collectibles. There's at least stuff to do there. Not in multiplayer, though. The multiplayer version has literally nothing to do. It is the open world with none of the activities in it. And Mario Kart is something that I feel like most people must do is because I myself mainly play it for multiplayer, right? I like it's one of their party games. Now Mario Party Jamboree does the same thing where they have so much single player or online only stuff with their side modes and stuff, and I don't get it. You're focusing on the minority, right? Because I feel like to most people this is a couch co-op game, right? Because everybody likes Mario Kart, it's not hard to find somebody who wants to play Mario Kart with you. And I say it as a very introverted motherfucker, so I don't I don't think I'm wrong in saying that. So it feels like way too much went into this glorified mission mode. It's just not worth it. And the track selection, of course, suffers from it because you have the intermission stuff, and then you have a smaller pool of tracks, and even the standard 32, right? And not mentioning the track section is just all over the place. It's not you have 4 Nitro Cups, 4 Retro Cups. It's just all over the place. Some have the track repeating. There's like 2 variants of it or whatever. And I don't like it. I really don't. There's not a single GBA track here. Maybe DLC, but quite frankly, they'd be fucking insane to try and charge more for this game. Right? Like, I'm not going to get into the price tag. It's obviously bad. The people who say you know, just get the bundle. If the price tag's an issue to these people, they're not buying this console at launch, right? And the bundle's going to be gone by then. I don't think the bundle's still around for Christmas time. So most people are not getting it with the bundle, despite what fucking social media keeps saying. So yeah, I do think the price tag is a serious issue. Not to mention, you get a bundle, you don't even get a physical copy. They couldn't even bother to give you a physical copy. So that's sad. And yeah, it's just not worth it. It has less content than 8 Deluxe, right? Like I've seen people say, "Oh, this game has so much going on." Does it? Because who's the open world for, right? Like I know some people still think it's a novelty, right? It's new and all that, but I've seen footage of it. It looks so boring. It looks so dull. I've never been into open world in racing games because you can't interact with the world, right? Because you're bound to a vehicle. So how do you interact with the world? Well, you've got some missions and some collectibles and whatever. You didn't need a whole open world to achieve that. I don't see much purpose in it. I feel like the cons outweigh the pros when it comes to this open world system. And that's not to say it's a bad idea necessarily. I think it's just done poorly. Just with how the tracks work around it. Because the actual game modes don't make use of the open world. Like at most there's the rallies and knockout mode, which go through intermissions, going through various tracks. But there's only 8 rallies. So they don't have a random assortment, even though there's so many. So there's so many like sections you're not gonna be able to experience unless you pick like one of the numerous generic options in versus mode, or you just find them in the open world where you can't actually do races in the open world. So it just seems like a waste. You're not making use of the open world. You're not integrating it into the game, really. And not to mention, I don't know why knockout mode uses exclusively intermissions. Because it's based on I can't remember what it's called, but you'll see in Mario Kart Wii competitive and stuff, where you've got people eliminated after a few races. They've overcomplicated it by making it tied to these intermission sections, so people get eliminated during the match, and apparently you have to spectate, right? Like you have to spectate when you're eliminated, apparently, in online. So I guess you have to close the game to leave. Because it's not like you can get back in, so I don't know why it forces you to watch till the end. I haven't actually checked online footage of that. That might not be true, but that's what I keep hearing. So yeah, only 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 8 rallies. 8 rallies. That's going to get repetitive. That's going to get old real quick. Right, so the open world does not give you that variety. It really does not. But back to the tracks in general, like the picks I'm really mixed on. There's Mario Circuit, which merges all the Mario Circuits together, but 4 is the only one they still haven't brought back. Why would you do this? So dumb. So very dumb. Then you got Koopa Troopa Beach, which is actually Koopa Beach. They just fucked up the naming, I guess. And it's just a circle, right? There's no innovation to the track, really. It's just a circle. And when you've only got 30 tracks, that feels like a waste. Jocko Man's industrialized and shit. It just looks really lame. And I don't see how it improves the gameplay from what I've seen. I don't know why they picked this one. I love Choco Mountain, but if it's just in the last game, and clearly they realise that and want to do something drastically different, it's not even that much of a fan favourite course. There were so many other tracks you could pick. Where the fuck's Wario Coliseum? A big Coliseum in your open world. That's another thing. A lot of these picks don't feel like they're cool for the open world. Where Wario Coliseum was still waiting on. There's Wario Stadium from the N64 at least. And I don't seem like it's been changed a lot, but I'm kind of fine with that because the original Wario Stadium sucked ass. So I don't really care if that's unfaithful. Moo Meadow is back for no reason. I mean, it's because the Moo Moo is playable, which is called Cow, which annoys me. They're called Moo Moos. I've seen people say it's because the Moo Moo is named Cow, but is that canon? Can I get the Mario Lawners to check this? Because if that's the reason, that's funny. But it's like a regular moo to me because they have like a dedicated enemies section. They're meant to be like generic enemies. Which the moo is kind of like the one sell like the main selling point of the game. It's not the overworld, it's the fact you can play as the fucking moo. That's the main thing. But yeah, like the new tracks I've seen, some of them seem a bit dull, some of them seem good. I can't really comment about them because I haven't really played them. I don't have an attachment to them at the moment. So I won't be critical of them. Wario Shipyard / Wario's Galleon, they butchered this one. This is a really good Mario Kart 7 track, and they've removed underwater. What a stupid decision. I see people go, well, underwater section 4 is bad, it doesn't change the gameplay much. It was for visuals mainly, right? Like it allowed for so much more track potential. You know, like Cheap Cheap Beach, you can go in the underwater bits. Koopa Troopa Beach would have benefited from this. So did the DS Desert Hills. There's like the Oasis bit. That's perfect for like an underwater shortcut. And they brought, I don't know, why the fuck's Desert Hills in this? I think Desert Hills is underrated, but they barely did anything just to spice it up. And it's like one of the simpler tracks. I mean, you've only got 30 tracks. I don't know what you're doing. I really don't understand. Dino Jungle is like the one big overhaul I think is kind of good, but I don't like the dinosaur designs because they feel too realistic. There's no Noshi, from what I can tell, but I like the idea of, oh, it's a dino laboratory and we've got more dinosaurs. Like, that's inherently like a fitting new idea. It expands on the original concept. The layout's still there. I like it. I kind of don't appreciate that A Deluxe didn't add Airship Fortress and Dino Jungle just because they're going to be in this game. I would have probably just been in 8 Deluxe. But regardless, DK Pass is like identical. That's one that they just didn't change at all. And for that, I don't know why it's here. Again, underrated track. I think it's quite fun. But when you've got 30 tracks, I don't know how they've chosen these. I don't know why there's a lot more DS tracks when, there's none from other games. I don't get it. Toad Factory's back, that's good. Like, that and Warrior City, even those like ones that have been asked for a while because they haven't actually made a return yet. And generally the rule before was only retros that haven't returned yet. And this has obviously broken that. And I'm kind of finding that because, like, with 8 Deluxe, with all the retro tracks, you've kind of covered most things. But there's still stuff missing out in favour of, pretty bog standard tracks returning again. Mario Circuit. I just don't get it. Peach Beach, again, that's a simpler one that I, again, think is underrated, so you'd think this would be a track selection for me. I've seen the gameplay, like, when you play it normally, I feel like you only go around the regular track for the first lap and you go into, like, Peach's Castle. And I think that's fun, but I think it should be 2 laps. I think the main game, most of the track should be, the original. And if you want to do something crazy on lap 3, go for it. Because Peach Gardens did that by having the scrapped backwards version from DS, bringing that into 8 Deluxe on the last lap. That's really cool. Like, you can do something like that. But they kind of did that, but I don't think it's right. And, I mean, again, normally you're not going to be playing it with the free lap system anyway, so I guess 1 lap of a track is normal anyway, so I suppose it's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't think it's that great. I also think the Rainbow Road is mid. Like, it's just seems unfocused. It just seems like a long road. It's quite wide. All the roads are wider now because, well, we've got 24 races. That's another thing that I feel like was just changed for the sake of change. 24 is way too much. As like a fun game mode, sure. That should not be like baked into the game. That should not be like an intended feature, much like 200cc, which 200cc is not in this game. Fucking baffling. 8 years dev time. You can't have fucking 200cc, probably the most popular new thing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm not good at it, but why would you not have that? I don't understand. There's also no reverse mode thing, which is something people are hoping for, instead of mirror mode. I think you have both. I'm surprised they got mirror mode to work with the open world. I'm glad mirror mode's here, right? Like, they're doing the bare minimum. But yeah, the game's content lacking in reality. Like when you look past the open world, which isn't really integral to even this game because the tracks don't incorporate it properly. It just limits the track selection, right? It just makes the track selection less fun. I just don't think it was a good idea. Or rather, a good execution of the idea. I mean, even the idea is a bit weird, right? Like, it's not something I do. But also, you're coming out of 8 Deluxe. 8 Deluxe perfected the regular format. It has 96 tracks. You're not getting that many tracks again, right? Because I the people complain about Beast Course Pass. Oh, it's just, Mario Kart Tour mobile game assets. You would not have that many tracks without it, and they play great. And I quite like the cartoony art style of Tour anyway, so I always loved it. That's like my favorite DLC in anything. I think that really made it the definitive Mario Kart. So you were really going to struggle topping it. I feel like if they didn't do the boost course pass and release this, I'd probably be less critical. But the bar was high, and I did expect to not like whatever the next game would be as much as Mario Kart looks. I can't see it. It is so perfect, right? I kind of knew, but you've done something different and good. 8 Deluxe works on Switch 2 as well anyway, so have something distinct, have something different to make up for the fact that you can't match that content. And they've chosen a weird way to do it, but I think it would have just been better to have just, 32 regular tracks. That's how harmful I think it is to this game. So yeah, that's my thoughts there. I'm trying to think of what else. Character roster. This is the full selection from Sirloin. Yeah, I think that's the channel. And you still have the costumes here. The selection is done questionably, but I'm not really going to bother critiquing that. I don't care for the costumes. I know there's a big thing in Tour, and people are like, oh, add costumes to 8 Deluxe and stuff. I never really cared for it because I think I'm just going to use the regular designs. Not to mention the human characters get the most costumes, and other than Wario and Waluigi, I don't really care to play as the human characters. But that's just me. So I don't think it's a bad addition. My problem is what was removed. Like, look here. Where's Metal Mario? Where's Gold Mario? Metal Mario was really cool. Like the only issue was, well, he takes a slot, but very cool. And just no longer here because the costume system, they don't want to do anything too crazy. Right? Like you've done all these costumes, but and you've advertised those costumes. Like the clone characters, I made a video this years ago. They were so overhated because they were just bonuses really, but people thought, oh, they're just actual character slots. And I guess so, because some were completely different models, some had different voices and shit. I get it, but like effort went into them, and some of them are really cool alts, like Dry Bowser, another character not here. Oh, Pink or Peach in here. I know people don't really care about that, but like, why not? It's easy to throw in, and you've got a costume system baked into the game. Why is it not here? Why are you missing stuff that we had before we even had like a costume system? One of the main things that was, showcased about what you can unlock in the open world and stuff. Like, again, like, these are fun and whatever, but there's so many. Most people aren't going to use most of these, right? Like, let's go through. Let's go through a bit, right? Yoshi's the one I really want to talk about. Yoshi, right? So, I didn't even realize that. I think like the biker suit's like just a separate costume. That's interesting. So Yoshi here, right? What? Why have they done this? I mean, purple Yoshi's here finally, sure, but why? Why have they done it this way? You've added the different Yoshi colors, but each one has their own look, has their own costume. I feel like most people would rather just have the regular costume, just like naked but with the boots on, and just have the Yoshi color they want. Like these are all cute, but why is the color tied to the clothes? I think that's really dumb. And like something as simple as just recolors that Yoshi, Shy Guy, Birdo, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had. You know, I'm shocked Toad didn't get him. That was always a weird omission. Same for turtle shells, Koopa shells, which also aren't here. Lakitu's just got a green shell now, even though Racer Lakitu had a red shell, and then the Lakitu who's like, you know, on the cloud, you know, starting race stuff, they're the one with the green shell. That was always kind of the distinction. And they clearly just forgot about that and didn't make a variant for it. So they're missing out on basic stuff that some of which we had before with this big costume system. So it just feels like a waste. All they focus on is different clothes, and I don't really care. Right? Like I just don't. I think, you know, most of the characters, like the non-human ones, right? Like they're not wearing much because they've obviously got distinct like designs. Like these are cute, right? Like I don't have an issue with the actual clothes. I just think it's odd prioritization, right? Like that's fun, sure. Birdo also just doesn't have any colours, but she has like two costumes, and one she's in like a dress. So shout out. Shy Guy, I think, is the same as Yoshi. You have the different colours, to my understanding. Again, like, why is there no Red Shell Koopa? Where's Paratrooper? Like, what? What? How do you miss that? I really don't get it. And oh, the toads. I thought different colours at least, but I guess not. Is there no? Oh, there is Captain Toad. But let's see, that's like the one obvious thing they've managed to actually throw in. Um, Burger Toad, sure. See, like these are fun. I just don't get it. That's not even Captain Toad's actual design, is it? I'm not too familiar. There's like a Lakitu because I don't think there's a red shell. Yeah, no, it's just green shell Lakitu. Like it's just recolors. You just change the color on a texture, and that's frankly what people want more than these wacky costumes. Right? I like the King Boo ones. Is that all Shy Guy has? You just can't change the color for him, but you've got like some stupid fucking headset outfit for him. That's dog shit. Also, why is there no Luigi's Mansion King Boo design? Hello. What? I didn't realize how bad this was until I'm looking at the full thing properly. They missed out on so much basic stuff. I know Biker Wire is also not like here properly. They've got like a different design. Yeah, but he's got like a cap on and looks like a fucking Republican. Like, what? Like, that's not the Biker Wario design. He's got a man bun. Sure. And this is what I'm out with, like, Birdo. Right? Like, that's a good outfit. But why can't I change the colour? Hello? And, you know, while I'm here, let's talk about the removals, right? And no Pete Piranha, we have a regular Piranha plan, which, by the way, the enemies all bundled at the end. Right, okay. Come on. So, like, these are the main selling point of the roster. Is the newcomers here. You know, Gumba's finally playable, Nabbit. All good additions. But the removals just make them seem baffling. Oh, I haven't even actually shown the enemies. Whatever, I can kind of remember what's here. You know, there's a conch door. You can play as a snowman. Like, the penguin. I really do like it. I think it's my favourite addition to the game. Yeah, I still think this roster is worse than 8 Deluxe because all the costumes are worse than just having the basic recolors of Shy Guy, Yoshi, and Birdo. I think those outweigh the other things, and like Dry Bowser, of course, that's another big one. There's that's, better than all the Bowser costumes combined. It's just odd. And then you've got like all these obscure enemies, which I love using stuff like that. But then there's no Koopalings, which I kind of didn't think they'd make it, sadly. But just bring them all back at this point. Like, you've covered most of them, but the rules are big. There's Diddy Kong's not here. Weirdly, a lot of the 8 Deluxe DLC characters are not here. Like, Peachat's gone, which I actually quite like Peachat. And I think that's because even if you made her a costume, what does she count as? Because she's technically Toadette. So if it was a Peach costume, that wouldn't make sense, I guess. So I suppose that makes sense to not have her, but it feels a bit daft to just have her in the DLC and have her go. Diddy Kong, Funky Kong's not here, which I don't really care much about Funky Kong, right? But like he's obviously not an essential character. But again, just had him back. Weird. Diddy Kong is essential in my opinion. Right, he's literally on the cover of Double Dash. He had his own like racing game series. It just seems weird to not have him in every Mario Kart. I just don't get it. He was already in Double Dash and Wii, so he was already in 2 games, which is why his absence in 8 Deluxe was weird. We finally got him and Birdo, so then 8 Deluxe's roster felt complete. And World just doesn't have him. Doesn't have any of the Kongs for Donkey Kong, who I'm now mixed on his reason. I liked it initially, but he still has like the weird, like really big, retractable teeth. So I'm still not too keen on Donkey Kong, but I don't know why the others aren't there. Dixie Kong was in the mobile game and shit. Like, I just don't know why you wouldn't have more of them. It just seems baffling to me because they're quite popular. Even like someone who should be an obscure character, like a fucking real wild card pick like Funky Kong, became popular because Mario Kart Wii. So it's just weird not to have him. I think I mentioned Petey Piranha, not here because you've got a regular Piranha plan. That's dumb. I think you can have both. Also, we don't have the Piranha Plant item anymore. I haven't talked about items. I'll do that after. Like, I'm just trying to think of the other characters. Like, Rob's still not back. Mind you, this game doesn't have guest characters, at least not at the moment, which I'm fine with generally. But Rob is also like a Kart, so just bring Rob back as properly playable. I don't want that's an absurd request. You own the character. And like so many characters in it shouldn't make sense, like driving on bikes and shit. Like the logic before was, well, you can't have Rob riding a bike, and we can like play as snowmen and fucking bees. The Sting Bee's another one. I think is an odd pick if you don't have Honey Queen. I'd have just brought her back. So very much similar to like the Petey Piranha situation. Yeah, I just don't get it. It feels like obvious misses to bring them all back, and you've lost out on a lot of key characters in place of more out there enemy characters, which are arguably more unique, but it does make the roster feel less whole, at least to me. And it's certainly not a bad roster, especially for Mario Kart standards, because I'm going to be honest, I think 8 Deluxe, once it was completed, that was like that's like kind of your only good roster other than like Double Dash and Wii. Those are good for the time and still quite good now because you've got like over 20 characters. But other than that, like you're looking at very bare minimum selection, and like Mario Kart 10 is like a bit of a quirky roster, but it's a small amount, and you've got notable absences like Waluigi. So it would be silly to call that one good. And this is big. There's a lot going on. You've got the cautions of, so it's not bad. I just think it's worse, and you've gone in directions, and you've lost stuff out that was actually better in the previous game, at least in my opinion. Like, no Kamek is just the one that annoys me the most, because we waited so long to finally have him playable, because he was cut from Mario Kart 64, and then he was in the files for Mario Kart 8 and just never became a character. And then it took the mobile game existing and a whole DLC pack to finally get him in a playable Mario Kart. And now he's gone again because, he's an item that doesn't really do anything. Like, it spawns like enemies and like turns the player into that enemy visually or whatever. I can't remember what it does exactly, but it just seems daft. I just don't. It feels like a pointless item. A lot of new items feel like unnecessary. Like the coin box thing only really works for Tor. I know there's like generally more coins. This game like there's 20, but you can hold. But I don't care, man. I think coins are great balancing. I'm someone who's never had a problem with it. I think the coin item is actually good. At least in 8 Deluxe. In 8 it is terrible. The item system in 8 is terrible without the 2 item box things. I don't know why they have it the way they do in that game. But in 8 Deluxe it really works because you can have an item and a coin. And it's good balance. Here I just don't get a logic. And then there's the coin shell, which is another shell, but this one fires coins behind it. Again, just seems unnecessary. And then you lose it on items like you don't got the boomerang anymore. You have the hammer. That's something. I'm glad hammer bros are here, but I think it's just a regular hammer bro. So that's kind of, again, bare minimum. But that's like a noble one because hammer bro was cut from Wii. And you've got like the hammer item to go with it. That one seems useful. So I don't have an issue with that one. Boomerangs I thought were good. I definitely, in this one, I quite liked boomerangs. Again, I'm not fully familiar. I'm just trying to remember what I've seen. And there's no Piranha Plant item, which I think is also an underrated new item. I think they should have just updated it to let you go off-road similar to the Mega Mushroom, which the Mega Mushroom's back in this game, which I think is a big win. I feel like that was an item that shouldn't have left. I think that was the one Wii item that was actually good. Like, the lightning cloud's fucking ridiculous. The power block's just annoying. But the Mega Mushroom is really cool. I noticed they gave it, like, there's like a cooldown and like the item doesn't go away until the mushroom stops. I'm not sure how overpowered it is. I guess it's pretty overpowered with how many players there are. So I'm not going to say if that was a good change or not. I'm obviously really not familiar. My door stopped creaking there. What else? Is that everything? Gone through items, gone through the races, we've gone through the open world, the modes and shit. Oh, battle mode. Battle mode, it's... I mean, I didn't even think it'd be in the game because they didn't announce it initially. I was so surprised. I'm not sure what the selections. I think it's like a mix. I know Big Donuts there, so there are battle tracks, but I think a lot of it is just regular tracks like Mario Kart 8, which I think is a missed opportunity. I think that's stupid, right? Like, I can 100% get not doing a battle track selection because you have the open world. You could make a fucking proper battle royale mode if you wanted to. You really could with the big open world and stuff. There's a lot of potential in a battle mode that uses that, and you can make that a key mode, not just a small side mode that's basically neglected always. And they didn't. Again, they just don't. They don't take advantage of any of the potential with an open world. But again, I haven't really seen much of it. I know there's only coin runs and balloon battle, and I've heard mixed things about whether there's elimination on balloon battle or not. Which 8 Deluxe doesn't have, elimination, of course, but you've got like 5 different modes for it and stuff, and then you've got 8 battle tracks, which is the second most. Wii surprisingly has the most battle tracks, has 10. And those are all quite dynamic, but the problem is the battle mode is like teams only, and it's a bit daft. But 8 Deluxe is probably like the best battle mode generally, even as someone who definitely prefers like the elimination rules of balloon battle, because there's just a good amount of variety to it with the battle tracks, and then having 5 different battle modes itself. This just has the 2 basic ones. So again, it feels like you've taken a step back with that. Again, it's never really the focus battle mode. It's kind of just there because it's in every game. right? And they have it for obligatory reasons at this point. I don't really care about it. And in fairness, I don't think most players do, but I quite like it. Right? I think it is notable side content. I think it matters more than having an open world, because I know something like Ballad is replayable and it's a good thing to have a break from the regular racing. The open world, it doesn't really work that way, at least for someone like me, because there's nothing to do besides like the little missions and collectibles. So there is stuff to do with it, but it's single player only. It's kind of like a one and done type of thing. I'm just shocked it took 8 years of development time. It really doesn't seem that good for like the content, what's been put into it. I'd expect it to be much more for that much dev time. But again, I feel like open worlds often are just wasted dev time because they take a long while to make. And I mean, it's gone through the whole. We played the whole direct video there, and I think it's gonna be it for me as well. Done some yapping. Yeah, those are my thoughts, and that's also kind of why you won't get content for this game because I don't own it, and I'm just not interested in it. I'm just not. I have CTGP7. I have that mod, and that's really fun. I think Mario Kart 7 is a very underrated game. But I was let down by it not having a versus mode for some reason. So yeah, that is all. Thanks for watching. See ya.